former place of work, one of our agencies came up with a very beautiful ad of a monkey or a chimpanzee that was smiling. I immediately stood against it because in the first place, people refer to Africans as monkeys. So it's an insult. I fought it. I said, no way, we are not doing this. It's not right. Why should we use a chimpanzee? It's an insult to us. And they said, okay, Sophia, you're right. But we love the chimpanzee. I said, what do you love about it? They said, almost every advert in Ghana has a man or a woman smiling or with their children smiling. But when you have a chimpanzee smiling, it's something extraordinary. I fought and fought and fought. And they said, no, we love the chimpanzee. So far, we agree with you, but we will do it. I was broken. I was like, God, now how am I going to explain this to the public?
Imagine a world where we have gender equality in and through media. That is our mission at African Women in Media. I'm Dr. Yemisi Akimobola, your host, and this is Her Media Diary, a podcast that captures the lived experiences of African women working in media industries. In this episode, I'm joined by Sophia Kudjordji, a Ghanaian corporate communications expert with a rich background that spans over 2 decades. Sophia shares her journey, her challenges, and the lessons she learned along the way, from her dynamic childhood in Ghana to becoming one of the top 10 most influential women who have risen to the top in journalism and public relations. Now, throughout this series, we will be in conversation with African women who are championing the gender equality cause and ensuring adequate representation of women in corporate communication sector. By inviting these voices into conversation, we hope to provide solutions to break down barriers faced by African women in media industry. We start this podcast by getting to know the woman behind the success, because we can Google your success, but we want to know your journey. So tell me about growing up. Did you grow up in Accra?
No, I didn't grow up in Accra. So I'm the daughter of 2 police officers. Both my parents were in the police force. So being transferred from one place to the other is one of the things we do a lot. So for instance, I was born in Tamale, the northern part of Ghana. I started school there, and then my father was transferred to Seshioso, Western region. My mother was transferred to Greater Accra region, but we were moving between wherever my mother is. We'll be there for a while, then we'll go to our father's place. The good thing was that when they were together, we were always happy together. But once they separated them, if we are with one person for a long time, you fall sick, then they take you to the other person. So my life had been quite rugged from childhood because we were born in Tamale, went to Tema, Greater Accra region, then to Ho, to Seshioso or Fuanse. These are in different regions of Ghana because of their work. But one thing about me was that growing up, I used to be a very sick person. Very, very sick. In fact, at some point, my parents thought I had a sickle cell. So we did all manner of tests, but I didn't have sickle cell. I was just a frail person, very weak all the time, and you could hardly get me to talk. And I'm born to a family of, my father had 9 children. My mother had 6 out of the 9. And
Hold on. 9 children. Wow. Tell me the dynamics of that setup. 9 children.
So my father already had his 3 children before he got married to my mother. But my mother is this beautiful woman who had all the other children living with us. So we all grew up together, knowing each other so well, and we're just family. We're just family. There was nothing like this children or those children, but we all grew up together.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful setting. I tell people today that when I hear testimonies about us and how we relate to others, I want to give thanks to my mother, who taught us to work together as a family. I know families where parents, pitch one against each other. But my biggest cheerleaders are my siblings and my nieces and nephews. And it's such a beautiful thing that I think that as I grow, I realize that it's something you can't take for granted, because apparently it's not a giving. It doesn't just come like that. So yeah.
Absolutely. Can you tell me some of your earliest memories in that kind of family dynamic of, always moving around? I mean, it sounds like you had a really good tour of Ghana, to be honest. But was that how it felt at the
Not
time?
quite, not quite. It didn't feel like that at all. But because my father and my mother were separated by the work, we always found ourselves looking forward to my father coming most of the time. So my father was this funny, interesting guy, always there for his children. And we are five girls. My mother said we have five girls and one boy. On my father's side, we are seven girls and two boys. And so he will come, yes, he will come home, and he loves to keep things clean. My father can't step on the ground where there is sand. So he has to wear his slippers. And we were just these free atoms running around the place and all that. So he will always go like, "Oh, you girls, what is wrong with you? What is?" And he will cook for you. And whenever he's coming, normally we eat together as a family. But whenever he's coming into town, my mother will not mind us again. She just sticks to her
Yeah.
husband. They'll go to the market together, do the cooking together. It was such a beautiful thing. We grew up before we realized that, oh, there were challenges in that marriage. We didn't see it. There were
Wow.
challenges, serious challenges, but it was a beautiful thing. I remember when my father would wake up in the morning, come out and say, guys, be on the alert. She's not in a good mood today. And watch
Watch
out.
out.
And then he used to call her unenforceable laws is on the rampage right now, so be careful.
Oh.
But he calls her my sweetheart. There is a word in Ghana called Odoyu, like love is death. And that's how he called my mother. After his passing 40 years ago, my father's family still call my mother Odoyu. So no, it didn't feel like a tour of Ghana at all. It was kind of a punishment. It sounded to us because you start school here and then you have to break and go to school there, and then you have to go and start all over again, and then you move again. So we didn't have
Mm.
till today. I meet people like, "Oh, you were my mate," and I can't even remember that. Oh, okay, we were in school together. So you tell me, I say, "Okay, okay, okay," So it kind of messed up a bit with our education.
Mm.
But if eventually my mother settled after the passing of my dad, my mother settled in the Volta region. So then we had a longer period to school. But what I was saying was that the family dynamics, there was so much fun in the house. It was, my dad always had something to joke about. He would make a joke about everything, a lot of encouragement, And my mother was this hardworking woman, disciplinarian. So you can't have it your way, So as my father is making fun, teasing, and all that, then my mother, the unenforceable laws, then will come in with her
Yes.
discipline, with her discipline and all that. So today, when you go out and people are like, "Oh wow, you are a lady, you are this," and then I sometimes call her and I said, "Akwa, thank you very much. They say I am this, and it's because of you." But it's taught me a lot of family philosophy. So even in my corporate life, from when I started work till today, I treat my team as a family. I love to encourage a lot. I am a very stern person. I'm firm, but they know I speak a lot of my eyes, and I speak a lot of my tone
Mm.
of voice, because that's what I learned from unenforceable, my mother. But then people who know me know that, oh, I'm very affable, very sociable, always welcoming, very warm. And that's why I love to mentor a lot of young people. But they also know that behind that smile is a very tough disciplinarian who will not let you have it your way at all if I think it's not right. But it helps me to be able to engage young people a lot. It helps me a lot because I'm quite old school, because I'm trained from this old mother children training. Sit down, don't do this, do that, and all that.
Mm.
And we obeyed the values and everything that we picked in the house. But at the same time, it helps me to appreciate the young ones of today. And so I try to encourage more because I see what encouragement has done in my life. I tell people, my father has been gone for almost 40 years. I think this year is 40th year since my father passed. But we talk about him in my house as if it happened yesterday. you know, because of the impact he had on our lives. For instance, I said earlier, I used to fall sick a lot. And one of the days I called him and I said that, you know what, I want to stop school so that you use your money to take care of my other siblings. And he goes like, well, you are the only graduate in my house. And I was then in the secondary school. And if it means you have to attend school once in a year and I have to sell everything to take you to school, I would do it. Because this is a home, I'm talking about police officers. My mind was not about money because there was no money in the house. We didn't even realize it. All we knew was that
Mm.
there was always food, there was always something to wear, and there was also always fun. We always had something in the house to laugh
Yeah.
about. Every day till today. We remember back in the days, and we always have something in the house to laugh about. And so he encouraged us. My father was the one that is like, you never do any wrong with him. So for instance, you break something and you are crying and you come and it's like, oh, don't worry. I mean, I've been trying to get a new one, but I didn't know how to dispose of this old one. Once you have broken it, now you have given me the opportunity to buy a new one. So that is the kind of encouragement that has built some confidence in us that you live your life humble, content, and affable, loving everybody around you, sociable. I tell people my mother receives more calls from my old students, my schoolmates, than I do because she will call you.
Just
Yes,
wow. Yeah.
she will call you. She's 86 years now, but she will call you. On our birthdays, sometimes our friends give the parcels to her because they're like, well, so far you never called me. Sisi is the one who's been calling me. So it is.
Yeah.
So that has been my life until today. She'll call you out of the blues. How are you doing? Have you eaten? I have some stew. Come for something. That's my mom for you. A very generous woman, and so she's
Yeah.
taught us to be like that.
No, I mean, it's clear to see from what you say what impact both your parents have had in terms of who you are today. And I'm interested to know how you found yourself in journalism because you started your journalism career at the Ghana
Ghana
News
News
Agency.
Agency, yes. So both parents have not been to the secondary school, but my father used to say that wherever his father took him to school to, he will push you to the next level.
Yeah.
And he passed when I was in the secondary school. I was going to write my mock exams, So, but my mother called one of the teachers to come to the house and advise me on what courses to do because I kept saying that I want to be a journalist, a lawyer, or a bilingual secretary, you know. And so this person comes to advise and says, do this course, do that course, do that course. So I agreed and I did it. And I really wanted to go to the university. I got to a point, I always say this, and I say my French is very bad, but I say I was silly, that's the French I'm speaking, in thinking that it was going to be the university or nothing else. University or suicide. It was that terrible because my father had been calling me his graduate before he
Mm.
passed. So I felt that until I go to the university, I'm not a graduate. And it really, I could cry and cry and cry and cry about this until a friend said, look, there is this Institute of Journalism where they are admitting students. Why don't you try it? And I said, no, 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 no. My father used to call me it's called Legombroni, like the white girl from the university. So that's what I wanted to be for him. So to veer off that was not good for I didn't want it. So he had to go and pick the form and he forced me to go and write the entrance exams and everything and did the journalism. Eventually I did journalism and then I started work and kind of started enjoying it, because when I started, we used to do what Nigerians call youth service. We call it national
Yeah.
service. During my national service period, I worked with some people and they liked the attitude. So one day I was there and then somebody comes to me and it's like, oh, Sophia, we have these guys in town who want to come and do, it's a Danida sponsored project and they need a journalist. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm just a youth service person. I'm just a national service person. I can't do it. He said, no, 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 but Sophia, I know you. You can do it because I had seen people who had done 20 years of journalism, 15 years of journalism, and I got a bit scared. But he said, no, you are the one we want because I've worked with you before. And even then, so he called me and I go to do this. So I became like a consultancy I was doing for the people. And I will call everybody for help and all that. But at the time, I had still not started my journalism because there was a ban on employment. But after 2 years of doing that, I had an opportunity to interview with Ghana News Agency because even though I was doing consultancy, I was still going to Ghana News Agency to serve
Okay. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
nothing. But I was doing it. I just wanted to learn, So I kept going there until 2 years after they're like, okay, the opportunity is now there for employment. So quickly I applied and they were like, well, you're already with us. But you're already doing this thing. Why do you want to come here? I said, no, this is the best place to learn. So I went to Ghana News Agency to work as a reporter, but eventually resigned as a senior reporter along the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. How many years were you there for?
I was there for six
Were
years.
there any pivotal moments during that period that kind of shaped now the direction that you took? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I was in the Volta region and I was the only lady amongst guys. And so,
Wow.
and I was this tiny, almost kind of no form, no shape kind of human being. But the guys taught me to be tough. I mean, I remember going for assignments with them and they would say that, look, guys, we are all wearing here. And I'm like, there's a lady amongst you guys.
Amongst
We
you,
all
yeah.
cannot we at the same place. They said, well, hurry up, find something because when we move, we are not stopping again. But I call it my days of wearing jeans. I mean, I didn't even think about dressing and all that. I was so much into the guys, and they did something. They encouraged me a lot. And then they pushed me to go and do a bit of radio. There was a community radio, even though I was working with Ghana News Agency, which is like a wire service, like the routers and all that. They pushed me to go and do radio, women's program, youth program, and election period. They will make me to go and interview aspiring MPs and all that. So that toughened me, you know. And then there was something that happened at a point in time. They said some people wanted to come and offload some chimpanzees that had been used
Okay.
for experiments outside the country. They wanted to bring them to the Volta region. And some of us had to go to the grounds, do investigations, and write a very strong, article to say that this is not happening. It is not coming here because chimpanzees have their own problems. How much more, being tested? You can't tell what has been tested on them. So we fought back, and it did not happen. And it was one of my, high moments in journalism. But that was around the time when internet was coming and I got excited about internet, computers, and all that. So I had to go and learn by myself how to do. I don't know if you know about MS DOS, and Excel. I studied all that by myself, Corel Draw, and all that. Yeah, and then I did a story about the British High Commission at the time, and they were shocked that this tiny little girl in that community, in that part of the country, could write such a story, no fears, no hold bars. I wrote it as it is, and it was like, wow. So you couldn't even censure the story. This girl must be a tough one. So they said they were looking for people to work at the High Commission, to do website. And if I was
Okay.
interested, I should apply. And I applied and I got it.
Okay, so that's how you then went into communications.
Exactly, exactly. But all along, even all this while, I was still doing the consultancy for the organization. It was the Volta Region Community Water and Sanitation Agency. So I kept doing the consultancy for them. But still I felt no, until I'm doing the actual work that I desired to do. No, I hadn't settled. Yeah. So after this time I transitioned into the British High Commission. But I went there as a website editor under the Press and Public Affairs, department. And when I got there, aside the website, I was also doing stakeholder engagement for them, helping with their relationship with the police and the media. And that went very, very well.
But I'm interested to know how your experiences as a journalist, right, influenced what you then went on to do in PR and strategic communication.
I think what helped me a lot in transitioning from journalism into communication is the stakeholder engagement, the writings, the press releases, and all that. Because I have done that I've done stories over and over again. I know what will be attractive and what will not be attractive. So for me, what it has helped me in doing is my storytelling. It's helped in my shaping my storytelling, doing narratives, stakeholder engagement, because you had to meet all manner of people, and the way you engage with them and all that helps you to build partnerships, and when it comes to strategic communication, it's all about how you engage with people. It's Communication is not about you. It's about how you communicate for people to make meaning out of what you're saying. So if I say something and you can't, it doesn't mean anything to you, I haven't said anything. It's like talking to you and speaking in tongues. I'll be
Yeah.
talking all right, but you'll be wondering, is she okay? So that's what communication is all about. So for me, I tell people that public relations and communications should be a kind of foundational thing for everybody, because it helps you to relate better with people and with your stakeholders, customer service and all that. It's all come together through what I learned in journalism and in the work that I was doing.
Hello, media enthusiasts. We've got some great and exciting news. The African Women in Media Conference 2024 is coming to Dakar, Senegal from the 5th to the 6th of December. This year, the event will gather some of the brightest minds and influential voices in media across the continent and beyond. But why should you attend? Well, AWiM 24 offers incredible benefits. Firstly, you get to learn directly from leading media professionals, thought leaders, and innovators who are driving change in the industry. Next, you'll connect with fellow journalists, content creators and media professionals and academics who are as passionate about storytelling and change making as you are. You'll discover new career pathways, gain valuable insights, and even find mentors who can help you advance in the media career. And very, very important to any event like this is your take home of actionable strategies, tools, and tips to level up your skills and your insights and what you do next. So you get that chance to participate in real conversations about gender equality and through media. Our theme this year is media and sustainability, and you do not want to miss AWiM 24. So if you're ready to be a part of that conversation, register now at AWiM24, that's awim24.africanwomeninmedia.com. Early bird discounts are currently open, so do not wait another day. All right. And we're pleased to also share that we have SkyTeam as our airline partners, offering 15% travel from all over the world to Dakar for the conference dates. And we're also in partnership with Pullman Hotel, Ibis Hotel, and Novotel, all in Dakar, who are also offering 15% discounts for your conference day. So don't wait around. See you in Dakar. And over the years, you've received many awards, and today you're described as one of the top 10 most influential women leaders in PR and communication. When you reflect on that journey from starting out at the High Commission to where you are today, what would you say were the biggest challenges? And I'm imagining this as you're in a male-dominated field. Yeah. So how would you describe not just the challenges, but how you kind of overcame them over the span of your career?
So amazingly, I think I have a bit of the toughness of the police blood in me.
Okay.
And
I was actually waiting for that to come up at some point again in this conversation.
I was saying that this is the first time I'm saying that, because
Yeah.
I've never really considered it, but I think I have some of the toughness of the police blood in me. And I have that kind of dependency on God in all that I do. So I must say that, yes, there has been challenges, challenges stemming from how you're treated, what is happening at home. And a friend once told me, a senior colleague, I mean, the late now told me that so far the totality of the life you lead is what impacts on everything that you do. And so don't think that, oh, this is my life at home, so it's different from my life in the office. No, whatever things you are picking up in the house is going to culminate into who you are in the office, at church, in society, and wherever. So I have found myself, whatever I go through at home, I tell people I have lost my father at a tender age, at the age of 16. In fact, I was going for my very first award as a best student in literature, but he was then at the hospital in a coma. So he couldn't be there. And for me, once my father died, I wasn't ready to go to school again. I seriously didn't want to go to school again. But that was my first major challenge in life. But as we went through it and every day trusting God, whenever I have issues in the office, I've had crisis in the office where your organization is under fire and all that. What do? I calm down, go to God and say, God, this one, how do you do it? I don't know how you go about this one. And sometimes I just receive some calmness and I come and I say that, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. And it works. And it has seemed to me like I have not really, honestly, considered anything as a big challenge. But everything for me has been a learning. Everything for me has been a learning. So whilst I'm going through it, I don't see it as a challenge. So I don't fret. I don't find myself fretting. I found myself in, environments that I'm wondering, how come this environment is this toxic? But somehow I don't allow those things to bring me down. I am one person that my kid sister, and that's what we do in my house a lot. My kid sister tells me all the time, Sophia, your smile is your weapon. Your smile is your weapon. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. And this is a smile I learned from my bigger sister, who at the time at home, whenever anybody is coming, she go like, oh, hello, oh, welcome, and all that. And I was seen as a tomboy, but she had to travel out of town. And then some people will come and like, this is your sister, she's too tough, she's too serious. And so I decided to learn from my big sister Joyce how to smile. And now the younger one tells me, don't lose this smile because it is your weapon. To be honest, in the midst of all that people will call challenges, you find me smiling. Some of my colleagues, my team members, sometimes will come, hey, madam, you're tough. I'm like, which one is the toughness here? Because they see sometimes the things you go through and you're still smiling. And it's not here, it's not like where I am now, but my entire working life. I have had situations where a junior staff has come to say, Madam, why are you still here? Why do you allow people to rub your face on the floor and you are still here? What are you waiting for? And I tell them, me, I don't know how to run my own life. When I have to leave a place, it has to take God to say it is time to move on. Until He has said it is time to move on, unfortunately, I have to stay. Unfortunately, I am very unapologetic
Yeah.
about my relationship with God and how He runs my life. I call myself the donkey that Jesus called and said, tell them the Lord needs it. And so if you think about it, that donkey was brought to Jesus and the women were laying their clothes and stuff on the floor. But Jesus did not walk on the clothes. And that is the honest that He brings to me. It is the donkey that was brought in that ended up walking on the cloth that the women were laying on the floor. So I have just learned to give my life to Him, and He directs. And so yes, I've had challenge. Oh, challenges are part of life, but I don't really, see it as challenges. I see everything as a learning thing. So, like I said, I've had situation in my organization where there's been crisis. What do? You sit down. You don't just rush and just respond to things. You take your time, think through it, pray through it, and God gives direction. This one you don't have to talk. This one you write this. That one you have to say this. This one you have to say that. I am a very forthright right person. And so I've had challenges with my bosses sometimes on some of the decisions I've taken based on some of these things. We fight, and at the end of the day, I conclude I have to I have learned to get to points where I'm like, okay, Sophia, it's not about you. It's about the business. This is
Yeah.
what the business wants, can you calm down and go with them?
That's an interesting point you make in terms of like you kind of doing what you believe in because you think that is the best way and having that conflict with your boss. But
Yes.
then also at the same time, and sometimes you're right, and sometimes also recognizing that, okay, actually, I was wrong in this situation, and this is what for those listeners maybe experiencing that right now and kind of having to um just do what is needed for the business. How do you reconcile that when it's kind of conflicts with what you really wanted to do?
So let me give you a typical example. In my former place of work, where I was leading marketing, branding, and everything, as I'm doing here right now, one of our agencies came up with a very beautiful ad of a monkey or a chimpanzee that was smiling. I immediately stood against it. I said, no way. Because in the first place, people refer to Africans as monkeys. So
Yeah,
it's an insult. Why shouldn't you allow her? No, it's not right. I fought it. The CEO and his partner, who were the owners of the company, and the entire board came together. And I had a conversation. We had a long chat about this. I said, no way, we are not doing this. It's not right. Why should we use a chimpanzee? It's an insult to us. And they said, okay, Sophia, you're right, you're right. But we love the chimpanzee. I said, what? What do you love about it? They said, think about it. Almost every advert in Ghana has a man or a woman smiling or with their children smiling. But when you have a chimpanzee smiling, it's something extraordinary. Whoever sees a chimpanzee smiling. And so we love it. I fought and fought and fought, and they said, no, we love the chimpanzee, so far we agree with you, but we will do it. I was broken. I was like, God, now how am I going to explain this to the public? So we went ahead with it. And of course, the backlash came. I was accosted twice, once at the hospital because I was wearing my organization's UT cloth, and somebody saw me
yeah.
and said, you are the people. You are the ones saying we are monkeys. You are no, 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 no. So I had to take my time. What I did was to go and learn about the chimpanzee. What are the qualities of a chimpanzee? The affability of a chimpanzee. You realize that it's a tough animal with a very funny face, but when you see it with its little ones, it brings you to itself. It protects. A chimpanzee can even take care of a human being. So I picked out those qualities. And then when people accosted me, I would tell them that advert became a huge thing in Ghana, where I had a lot of students coming to want to learn why we are using it. And I said, we think out of the box. We are a very tough company, because I was working in a financial services sector, which was seen to be my company was seen to be very robust, because we were lending money, and when you come for money and you don't pay, we chase you up. Sometimes we lock up your shops and all that. So we're very robust, but in the midst of that, we are caring. We care about our people, we care about customers and all that. And so I helped many students to get an appreciation of that. One day, my boss had me giving somebody this kind of explanation. She was shocked. She was, Sophia, you didn't want this advert. I said, yes, it's not about Sophia, it's about the company. Once we have decided to go with it, it is my responsibility to look at the narrative around it and make it a beautiful one. She was so shocked. She made me go through to all the regions of Ghana to explain to the management team what I have learned about the chimpanzee. So now when people ask you about, you people, you have not a chimpanzee, then we had a good story to tell about that.
That's an interesting example, actually, because we're learning a lot from the one in terms of actually you being able to confront and fight for what you believe in. But at the point where you kind of have no choice, also thinking, well, there's another route to this, actually, in making people see the whole situation differently, even if you yourself was anticipating the such a backlash.
So one thing I tell people, and it's one of my things I do, in whatever situation, make your stance clear.
Mm,
It might not be taken, but they will know that this is your stance. It is very important. Standing up for what you believe in, standing up for what you think is the values, standing up for what you think is you like. Eventually, even if they don't do it, one day somebody might say, oh, okay, well, even Sophia said this. But whatever it is, as a communicator, in every situation, make your stance clear. Don't be a pushover. Don't allow, oh, okay, let's do it like that. Okay, I don't like it, but me, I don't want to say it. No way, that's not Sophia. I think that in every situation, make your stance clear. They might not accept it, but at least that is your stance and it is clear.
Talking about stance, you are an advocate for women empowerment in the corporate sector. So tell me about that journey. What led to that? Embodying that stance for women empowerment.
No, so one thing I have realized about women is that women have so much, and yet, because of society, we allow ourselves not to shine. So, for instance, I say that there's a job opportunity or there's an opportunity somewhere. A man will have just about 60% of what it takes to do the job. He'll put himself up. A woman
Yeah.
will have 95% and she'll be like, oh, well, I want to get to the 99, at least 100 before. Otherwise, they will say I'm not good enough. No, it is about time women stood up and know that the 60% is good enough to put
Yeah.
yourself out. Men take over some big positions, not because they have it all, but just because they are ready to show for, they are ready to, present themselves for it. And I think that women also have so much. And for me, the sweet thing about women is that we are not just about skills.
Yeah.
We have something more. We work not just with our hands, we work with the heart as well. At least most women work with the heart as well. And so it brings some level of sweetness, care, love to the whole business setting. Because I'm one of those that say that you must love your company enough to be able to
Mm.
sell it. If you fall in love with somebody, your language about them is different. Even the way you react when they mention the person's name around you is different. And I think that as women, we have that thing that makes work, makes corporate space accommodating. We make it
Mm.
welcoming, we make it warm. And so
Mm.
women should be ready to put themselves up. I see young people these days, and I'm like, why are you not going into politics? So, oh, no, 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 madam, I can't talk. I don't like people to insult me. Why not? Some of the guys that are going don't have a quarter of what you have,
Yeah.
but they are there. They are there. And I think
Mm.
it's a deliberate thing that has to be done for women to know that you are good enough. Wherever you are, you are good enough. It doesn't take, you don't have to have everything before you show forth. Whatever you have now is good enough. You just present it. Let them be the one to tell you that you don't qualify for it. Don't disqualify yourself. Let the other
Before you even
person
get
be
to
the
it.
one. Yes. Let them be the one to tell you you don't qualify and ask them, oh, okay, please, what is it that I lack? So that you can
Mm.
go and add to it. Don't disqualify yourself. And I think women need to hear that. Women need to know that. So, in my own small way, that is what I try to do to encourage women to let them know that, look, we are good enough. We have what it takes, yes.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, there's a couple of things you've talked there, mentioned in this interview. One about the smile being your weapon. And then
Yes.
secondly, the way you described women in the workplace as having this kind of caring, nurturing, that kind of
Yes. Yes.
approach that's slightly different to men. And in many respects, in the corporate environment, you're almost kind of conditioned or encouraged to depart from I'll quote it, softness or that kind of smiley, nurturing
It's
kind of
quite
feeling. Or
sad.
sometimes, exactly, or sometimes it's presented in quite negative context. So, how does one make those things our superpower?
So it all comes to building your self confidence, knowing you. What do I know about myself? The first thing I tell myself, Sophia, you are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I am
Yeah.
being unwrapped every day. I am a whole package being unwrapped every day. I haven't seen the full story of what I'm capable of doing yet. At this age, I still think that there is a lot of potential in me. And so, over the years, because of the people I've worked with, they have built my confidence in me, starting from my
Mm.
father. Starting from my father, building that confidence in you that, oh, you can do it, you are this, you are that. And so it's important for us to have that kind of self confidence. Self confidence starts with self love. How much do I love me? How much do I love this Sophia that I am seeing? And trust me, I'm so much in love with Sophia. Oh, I have my flaws. I have all manner of things, but I love this Sophia. And I thank God every day that this is me. You know,
Mm.
it starts from how much we love ourselves. It starts from how much we are ready to put ourselves out there. It gives you that confidence. It is important to have people around you who encourage you. I told you my mother and my siblings are my cheerleaders. One of the days I came for an award, and then when I came back, they said, "Oh, we have something for you." What was it? It was a new dress for the next award. I was in tears.
That's amazing. That's
I
amazing.
know. A new dress for the next award. It touched me.
Mm.
It touched me.
Mm.
You need people around you. Surround yourself with people who make you feel good about yourself, who encourage you. Women will have to learn to build barriers to say that, oh, okay, you are my friend, but I don't like your negativity around me. So can I step out a bit
Mm.
and go and think about myself? Because there are people, you do your hair like this. Oh, what kind of hair is this? Oh, no, 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 no.
Mm.
Oh, this dress. Oh, well, your dress would have been nice if they have done it like this, you
That
know.
is, we all know those kind of people. Yes.
I know. You have to find a way of stepping away from such people and be around people who will go like, oh wow, that's a lovely dress. Wow, wow, that's really nice. I just see this thing here. Can you do this? Somebody that makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
confidence is something that helps you. It's a process. It's not an
Mm.
event. It's not a destination. It's a process. And I don't think there's going to be a time when you say, I have arrived, so I am done. I'm not
Yes.
doing anything again. No, there is no arrival at a destination, but it's something that you work on yourself daily. Speaking good to yourself. Sometimes you might not have the people around you saying it. I've been in situations where there's so much negativity, you will begin to doubt yourself, you
Yeah.
know. But you have to believe in yourself in the first place. You have to make it a conscious effort, honestly, to encourage yourself daily. And as you
Mm.
build that, situations will come. Some of them you see it and smile, and you go like, "Oh wow, okay, I smiled at this. This did not distract me," and then you move on. And there are some
Mm.
of them that will be so much. I have another mantra. I say, close your eyes and keep your focus. Sometimes
Yeah.
the distractions around you are so much. Women are the ones that she can come to work. You don't know what she's been through, but she's gone through a terrible moment in the house. And then she comes, and there is a boss that is breathing fire on you.
And you.
And
Yeah.
then you have your colleagues and friends thinking, oh, she's this way, she's that way. Oh, this person. And I say, people have their little battles they are fighting at home. Can we give people the benefit of doubt and be a bit kind and just be human? Knowing that,
Yes.
look, I go through things, so it's possible you're also going through some things. Just be human, a human that cares, that loves, and let's leave it at that. And so, if people are not doing it for you, you learn to do it for yourself. But you
Mm.
yourself be one to others. Be that kind of person to others also. Don't always expect people to do for you without you doing for them. The world does not revolve around you alone. You are not an island. So you have to learn to give love to receive love. You have to learn to give care to receive care. It's not a weakness. I have told myself that vulnerability is a key quality for a leader. A leader should
Mm.
be able to say, oh guys, I think I am tired, I need help. Asking for
Yes.
help is not a sin. Asking for help is not a weakness, it's a strength. If we are
Absolutely.
able to ask for help, we are able to open up our vulnerability and ask for help. People will not fall down and die out of
Mm.
pain, out of boxing in so much, and yet you cannot speak up. So that is how I live my life. I tell people I have been through so much. Oh, challenge. I told you, my father died at the age of 16. This was a loving daddy,
Mm.
a very, very loving daddy. But he was gone. I wanted to go to the university. I didn't get it. I was desperate. I didn't get it. Today, I tell myself the guy who forced me to write the exams, I should be giving him a part of my money every time I get my salary.
Better be careful not to say that on so it doesn't come and demand for it.
Oh no, no, he's aware. I've been saying it everywhere I go. He's aware.
Mm.
Because with time, I have come to realize that there is such a thing as calling, even in
Yeah.
career. You don't have to be wearing the clerical to be called. It doesn't. Calling is not just about wearing the clerical.
Religion, yeah, yeah.
Calling is how you take your work, the passion, and everything you do with that particular thing that has been given you, your space. How are you managing that space? How are you
Mm.
being responsible for wherever you find yourself? How are you being accountable for wherever you find yourself? At the end of the day, your colleagues, your friends, they are your souls. They are the people you
Mm.
are supposed to be influencing. I don't need to carry a title to be a leader. Wherever I am, what kind of influence am I bringing to the people? Is it the children around me, in my home, in my office, wherever I find myself? I think that it is my responsibility to impact them with whatever I have. And that impact comes from who I am. And I thank God that I have come to realize that maybe communication is actually my calling. Because when my friends meet me, like, oh,
Yeah.
Sophia, you have been like this since you haven't changed. I say, oh wow, okay, if I change, it will not be Sophia again. So yes, I like who I am and I love her.
Oh, thank you so much, Sophia. It's been such a pleasure having this conversation with you. A lot
Oh,
of what you
thank
said,
you too.
especially around leadership and self confidence and just being kind and human, really resonates with me. So, thank you. I think that there is room for us to have deeper conversations about embracing what it is to be a woman in leadership
Exactly.
and kind of embracing those things, the smile and the warmth and all of those things, and actually not seeing it as a negative point. So thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your insights, your knowledge, and it's just been a great pleasure speaking with you.
Same here, same here. Thank you so much for the
All right.
opportunity to share my love with the world.
All right. This episode is a powerful reminder of the impact of encouragement, the importance of resilience, and the value of self confidence. Whether you're navigating your career, facing personal challenges, or simply seeking inspiration, Sophia's story offers valuable insights and motivation. She encourages women to recognize their worth and not to disqualify themselves from opportunities, something that we've all been guilty of at some point in time. And she stresses the importance of making one's stance clear and standing up for your beliefs, even in the face of opposition. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all we've discussed in today's episode. So please do feel free to drop me an email at yemisi@africanwomeninmedia.com with your thoughts. And also, if you'd like to join me on an episode of this podcast, drop me that email. So to find out more about African Women in Media and our work, visit our main website at africanwomeninmedia.com. And in the show notes, there's a list of organizations and resources available to support you if you've experienced any of the topics we've discussed today. Subscribe and follow A Media Diary on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And don't forget to join the conversation using the hashtag #HerMediaDiary.
Her Media Diary is a product of African Women in Media, an NGO advocating for gender equality in the media industry. And this episode was hosted by Dr. Yemisi Akimbobola, produced and edited by Blessing Udeobase as part of a 4-episode series on women in corporate communications. All music featured in this podcast is by Nana Kwabena. Thanks for listening and join us again next time.